Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Puti Khairani. I'm from UNP. Today, I will present an article by Miss Leni Marlina, and the topic of the article is the relationship between listening anxiety and listening comprehension of English department students in basic listening classes at Universitas Negeri Padang. All right, let's start from the introduction. English is essential to be mastered from the sake of communication, especially for foreign language learner. However, due to English is not their first language, foreign language learner often feel anxious even before they come to the classroom. This situation is called language anxiety. McClare and Gardner describe language anxiety as the rising of tension and uneasiness in a second language contact listening, speaking, and learning, and it prevents the student to get the successful target of their performance in language target. Horwer and Cobb argue that majorities of language learners have experienced language anxiety. The students think that English will be difficult and complicated to learn, which will result in the anxiety itself. Next. And in this article, one specific skill that has been analyzed and discussed was listening skill. Listening is considered as a really important skill to be mastered by students. This idea is supported by the fact that students spend most of their time to listen to what their teachers say in class, and for example, presenting lecturer, asking questions, and so on. Next. Now let's move on to research method. First, research design. This research aims to know the relationship between listening anxiety and listening comprehension in basic listening classes. In this research, the researcher used qualitative data analysis. The data was measured using numbers and value. Number two, population and sample. In the population of this research was all classes of basic listening class of 2019 students. There were 6 classes in total. For sample, from total 6 classes of basic listening class, the researcher randomly took 10 students from each class. The type of this sampling in this research is simple random sampling. Next. Instrumentation. First, questionnaire. The instrument used was foreign language listening anxiety questionnaire adapted from Marzek, Stawiska, and Hartwood. According to Wilson and McLean in Cohen, Mannion, and Morrison, a questionnaire is an instrument that used to collect the information. Structured numerical data can be taken even if there is no researcher and comparatively straightforward to analyze. And you can see this is the table about a level of anxiety. There are 3 levels: low, middle, and high. Next. Next, validity. Validity is an important key to do research. The validity used in this research is a contract validity. Contract validity means what actually done in the research or the deal with actualities. Number 5, reliable. Reliable means that consistency and persistence of measure. And this is a table about reliability rank the scale is, and a table about reliability statistic. Next. Technique of data collection. In collection the data, the researcher did first for the questionnaire. In collecting the data, the researcher gave the questionnaire through Google form or link that they fill with the rank scale type, rank from strongly degree 1 until strongly degree 5. And for the English test, the researcher asked for the result of basic listening finals test from the lecturer responsible for the class. And the last technique of data analysis to analyze the data from the questionnaire and the data from the result of the basic listening final exam, the researcher used inferential analysis. Next. Result and discussion. First, research finding. The findings stated in this research are from questionnaire and the listening comprehension test. In order to find the relationship between listening anxiety and listening comprehension in basic listening classes, the researcher must clearly group the result from affect and listening comprehension test first. Next. The questionnaire is used to know the level of listening anxiety of the student. From the questionnaire used in this research, the result of stated in the table below. This is about descriptive statistic. Next. Number 2, listening comprehension test. In this table, indicate that basic listening students have varied score in their listening comprehension test. This finding is one of the key point in showing correlation between listening anxiety and listening comprehension. Number 3, the relationship between listening anxiety and listening comprehension in basic listening classes. To find out the relationship between listening anxiety and listening comprehension, the researcher made a correlation analysis between FLLA and listening comprehension tests. Next. About discussion, the study was conducted to 2019 basic listening class student of English department at Universitas Negeri Padang. From the data obtained from the questionnaire, it was found that the majority of the students have a high listening anxiety rank. While from the data of listening comprehension test score, the student in basic listening class have varied score with the minimum score 30 and maximum score 95. Next. And this is a table about correlation between foreign language listening anxiety and listening comprehension. Next. Conclusion in this research, based on the result obtained above, it can be concluded that listening anxiety and listening comprehension in basic listening classes of English department at Universitas Negeri Padang were not correlated. It means that the level of anxiety of the student did not necessarily affect the listening comprehension. Additional, the result of like so the 6 students, 10% were in a middle level of anxiety toward listening in English. The rest, 54 of them, 90% were in a high level of anxiety. Although having middle to high anxiety level, it did not mean that the listening comprehension of these students would be low. This finding showed the anxiety in English listening was a common phenomenon among the basic listening student in English department of Universitas Negeri Padang, but not student with high anxiety has poor listening comprehension. Next. And the last suggestion, based on the conclusion stated above, it is suggested from the next researcher to continue the research about the relationship between listening anxiety and listening comprehension using a primary instrumentation. Due to this research, use secondary instrumentation from the listening comprehension test score. The result of this research might still lack of clarity. Therefore, it is suggested to continue the research using a primary instrumentation. Next. And this is the reference in this article. Next. All right. Maybe that's all from me. Do you have any question, guys?
Yes, Put. Can I ask something about this topic?
Okay.
Okay. Your presentation is good enough, and I appreciate you. And my question is, in general, how can we not feel listening anxiety in public? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Vinny. I will answer your question. Okay, my answer is the goal of it is the increase of student involvement in learning. The material should be delivered using the method or strategy or technique which can create a nice learning situation so that students are more interested to learn and having more participation in classroom or in class discussion or public. Besides, the other things should be noticed in unconditional positive regard on student ability to improve their listening skill. By giving positive value for the students in the attempt to improve their listening skill, it is hoped that it creates positive learning atmosphere, increase student self-efficacy, and dismiss student anxiety. Maybe that's all from me.
Okay, thank you, Put.
Okay.
Thank you, Bud.
Another question?
So
No?
far, so good. Can I?
Okay. That's all my presentation for today. Thank you to the participation, guys. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.